Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Rachnaye Rachnakar. Today we are having an exceptional guest and renowned cardiologist and author of Romancing with Her book. So let's welcome Dr. Akshay Mehta. Welcome sir, welcome to this episode. Thank you so much for joining, and let's start and dive into the insight for cardiovascular health. So this is the topic which is affecting all over the world, and your book is providing affordable and easy to understand measures to maintaining heart health. So can you give an overview what our listeners can find in this book?
Yeah. So you see, the commonest form of heart disease that is affecting the people all over the world, and more so in countries like countries of South Asia, like India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, etc. These our people, the so-called brown skin people or South Asian people, are affected more than twice our Western brothers and sisters. And that is why it's extremely important to know that 90% of heart attacks that occur are preventable, because 90% of heart attacks have a cause which is easily preventable or easily controllable. For example, smoking, or our diet, or our sedentary lifestyle, or our diabetes or blood pressure. These things are controllable, and they are the cause of 90% of heart attacks. So the main message from my book is that 90% of heart attacks are preventable. And out of the 10% of heart attacks that may not be preventable, if the symptoms are noted early and one reaches the hospital fast within an hour or 2 hours of chest pain, then a proper treatment that is given in the hospital will prevent any heart damage, or prevent death, or prevent complications like expansion of the heart, enlargement of the heart, or heart failure, and the future problems. So one can say that if one knows the causes of heart attack, one can prevent heart attack. If one knows the symptoms, the early warning symptoms of heart attack, and takes immediate action in the form of going to a nearby hospital and getting treated, then I would say in 100% of heart attacks, one can either prevent or prevent the complications. And that is very important. Now, when I talk about heart attack, I mean people with chest pain. There is another kind of cardiac emergency called sudden cardiac arrest. Now, in sudden cardiac arrest, there is many times no time to reach the hospital. And what has to be done on the spot. One has to recognize that a person has cardiac arrest and start the treatment on the spot. So that is a different emergency, and heart attack is a different emergency. But sometimes heart attack can lead to cardiac arrest. So let us think of, first thing is heart attack which causes chest pain. And in that chest pain is because of one part of the heart muscle does not receive blood supply from one coronary artery, which is blocked, and in such a case one has to reach the hospital as fast as possible. So my book covers everything from understanding coronary heart disease to preventing coronary artery disease and its early recognition and treatment, and reversing it once you have had it, how to reverse it, how to reduce the blockages, that, and finally the aspect of heart disease. So that's why I have termed it Romancing the Heart, which means understanding, preventing, reversing, and healing coronary heart disease.
In your book, you also have mentioned that there are two approaches of healing, physical and mental. So can you elaborate more at how emotional and mental way of healing is also important?
Yeah, you see, the mind, we have always been thinking about the brain and the body as two different organs of the body. But there is the mind, or the thoughts, or the thinking process affects every part of the body. It affects our genes expression, that means how the genes behave. It affects the various immune systems of the body. It affects our arteries. It affects a lot of chemicals which can cause inflammation. So our thinking process, our negative emotions, for example, can depress our immune system or defense system. Whereas positive emotions, emotions like love, kindness, altruism, relationships, all these can improve our immune system. And every disease, whether it is heart disease or cancer, the bottom line is our immune system. How good is our immune system? That is why there is a branch of medicine called neuroendocrine immune system. And the thought processes affect our immune system. So many times inflammation, which can be due to toxic processes in the mind, or maybe external, or maybe due to our reaction to the external situations, all these can create imbalances in the body and create what are known as cytokines or inflammatory substances, which can aggravate heart disease. So mind has a lot of role to play. The other thing that has a big role to play is our lifestyle. So both these things, our thought processes and our lifestyle, they combine together and create heart disease. Over and above that, there could be a genetic element also. We could be predisposed. If my parents have heart disease, I am at a little higher tendency to get heart disease. Not that I will get. And I can reverse that process by good lifestyle. So lifestyle is very important, like sedentary habits, sitting whole day, not exercising, having food which is full of trans fats and sugar, and smoking, emotional stress which is repeated, and of course other things like hypertension, diabetes which are uncontrolled. These conditions and these lifestyle changes, along with our thought processes, can create a problem. So that is why I mentioned that it is not the treatment is not only to be physical. That means supposing we undergo bypass surgery or angioplasty or give medications. Along with that, a good lifestyle and a good way of thinking process or emotional stability. These things are also important.
Definitely, sir. Integration of body and mind is very essential. Your book also have garnered lot of endorsement from leading personalities. So, can you give your thought or your insight at how this endorsement came about? Because this endorsement itself is it's proving the that credibility of the book. So, how this one came about?
The most important thing I've realized is that when your intentions are in line with the universal intention,
yes,
or it is in line with universal good, there is nothing that is impossible. All these people are not directly known to me, but came to know me through my book. Once I sent them the rough copy, they all liked it very much, and they gave, without any hesitation, they gave me immediately the endorsement. And they are pretty long endorsements. I had to kind of shorten them, and in the back of the book, I had to give only the summary. Of course, inside the book, I've given the entire whatever they have written in my letters to me and as endorsements. So there is a big lesson in my life I got, that I just dreamt about them. I said, whom should I write to? I said, okay, now the biggest, the most well-known person on the continent or in the world, or at least this part of the world, is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. And I got his endorsement. One of the most respected person whom I really respect deeply is Brahma Kumari Shivani ji, and she also immediately gave a good endorsement. Gavaskar has been my hero since childhood, and he gave an immediate endorsement, and so many others. So it was a dream come true for me. I never imagined they will give it, but they immediately gave it. There was no time delay also.
Yes.
So I think whatever you dream of, if it is in line with the universal good, it happens. It can happen.
Definitely, sir. It's wonderful. I want to tell my viewers that your book is also available at Rachnaye platform. They can download Rachnaye mobile app, then they can order Romancing with Heart. Your its book is very important, that it will give them insight, so they can prevent. They can take preventive measure in earlier stage itself. So next, what I would like to ask you, that how to begin the journey of healthy heart, how one can start the journey of keeping their heart healthy.
This what I've called this is known as a three-step formula. Formula with three steps.
Yes.
Step number 1, step number 2, and step number 3. If all three are followed, then you can prevent heart disease to a very great extent. As I said, 90% of heart attacks can be prevented. So step number 1. Step number 1 is taking some measurements. You know, a tailor takes your measurements to prepare your dress. The same way, for heart disease, take some measurements. And what are these measurements? First of all, your body weight and your waistline. In our country, we believe a lot of people are slim and still get heart attacks. If you see them carefully, their waistline is a little bigger than their hip line. So when you take a waist circumference and a hip circumference, you will know whether the person is really slim or he is kind of falsely slim and actually obese. Because central obesity, that means obesity or weight in the center of the body, that means around the stomach area, is an extremely important parameter of obesity. Let us not look only at body weight and height, which is known as the body mass index. That may not be an accurate predictor of heart disease, but the waist-hip circumference ratio, that means you take your circumference at the waist level and take the circumference around the hip level and see which is bigger. If your abdominal circumference is equal to or more than the hip circumference, that is abdominal obesity and one of the risk factors of heart disease. Not the only one, but one of the risk factors. The second thing is, of course, simple things like blood pressure and diabetes. They should be checked from the age of, at least hypertension from the age of 20 years. And diabetes also around the age of 35, 40 years. And these should be checked. So these are measurements which are very important. The fourth measurement, which I feel nowadays is very important, is your effort tolerance or your functional capacity, or in simple words, one can measure it by a walking speed. If your walking speed is good, then that is a good thing. But if you walk, you are habitually a very slow walker, that is a risk factor. So walk, and that the interesting thing is the walking speed can be increased, your functional capacity can be increased. So these are measurements which are extremely important. Then of course, cholesterol levels. What is your LDL cholesterol level? What is your triglyceride level? What are your levels of substance called ApoB in the blood? So these are measurements. So number 1 step is your measurements or the checkups that you do. That is very important. The second step in the formula, the 3-step formula, the second step is a good lifestyle. Good lifestyle means a diet which consists of lots of fruits and raw vegetables and nuts and seeds and legumes and pulses. So this is a diet which is very important. It is what we call is an anti-inflammatory diet. That means it causes less inflammation in the body. It doesn't raise your blood sugar, doesn't raise your LDL cholesterol level. So a low sugar diet, low trans fat diet is very important. A lot of raw vegetables, fruits are important. So diet is one of the important factors of lifestyle, and a regular exercise. Every day, half an hour of moderate intensity, regular exercise. That means brisk walking or swimming or cycling or dancing. These are exercises where there is a lot of movement. So that is extremely important for the health. So diet and exercise are very important. Third thing is proper sleep. At least 7 to 8 hours of good sleep in 24 hours is an important parameter to look at, an important part of good lifestyle. Of course, smoking should be stopped if this is going on. Alcohol to be minimized as much as possible. And I think these are and of course, take care of your reaction of your emotional upsets. So that is extremely important. So I think second step is lifestyle. First step was measurements. And the final step, many times some people, despite a proper checkup, the third step is required, which is medications like statins and lipid lowering, cholesterol lowering drugs that may be required. Rarely, some people, not all, some people may be advised blood thinners called aspirin. One of the examples is aspirin, but not all people, and that has to be very individualized because it can cause bleeding. So one has to know whether the benefit is more than the risk and then give drugs like aspirin. But cholesterol lowering drugs, statin drugs are much safer and should be given for certain people with very high cholesterol levels.
Yeah, a lot of network disturbance are there, it seems. Anyway, thank you so much, sir. You have accepted our invitation and you have joined. Your dedication for improving the heart health is really wonderful. Thank you so much. It's our honor to have you as our guest. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I would like that wraps up another episode of Rachnaye Rachnakar. We heartily thanks to Dr. Akshay Mehta accepted to being a guest for us today. Thank you, Akshay sir. Be sure to download the Rachnaye app and grab your copy of Romancing with Heart and start your journey of keeping your heart healthy. Stay tuned for more enlightening conversation. Till then, bye bye. Keep well, do well. Until next time, take care. Thank you.